Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss coefficient of friction. As you know, we are dealing with laws of motion, and laws of motion for class 11th. And in the last class, we discussed friction. What is friction? We discussed about limiting friction, kinetic friction, and laws of friction. Today we are going to discuss coefficient of friction. So, according to first law of limiting friction, F is directly proportional to R, that is normal reaction. Somewhere in the book you can see it as written as N, while you can see F is directly proportional to N. N is normal reaction, and I have written it as R. R is a normal reaction, which implies F is equal to mu R, where mu is constant of proportionality called the coefficient of limiting friction between the two surfaces in contact. From equation first we get mu is equal to F by R. So mu is the coefficient of limiting friction, and as you can see it is a ratio of the force of limiting friction to the normal reaction between the two surfaces. And normal reaction, you must remember that it is the force which acts upwards against the force of gravity. For example, if you keep a book on the table, force of gravity tries to bring it down, whereas normal reaction tries to keep it up. So as long as the two forces are balanced, that is weight mg is equal to normal reaction, the book will remain there on the table. If weight becomes greater than the normal reaction, then the table will break and the book will come down. So norm R is a normal reaction. So if you are asked to define coefficient of limiting friction or simply coefficient of friction, it is a ratio between F and R, that is force of limiting friction to the normal reaction between the two surfaces. The value of mu depends upon few factors, that is nature of the surfaces in contact and material of the surfaces in contact. As I already told you, if the two surfaces in contact are made up of metals, and that is called, in other case the two surfaces can be made up of wood, or in the other case it may be the surface of wood and metal. So the coefficient of limiting friction depends upon the two surfaces in contact. Then the nature, suppose if you have two metallic surfaces in contact in one case, and in the same two metal surface in the other case, but you have a lubrication between the two surfaces, then mu will be different for the same two surfaces. That is nature of surface in contact. For kinetic or dynamic friction, mu is replaced by mu k and F by F k. For kinetic or dynamic friction, mu is replaced by mu k and F by Fk. That is mu k is equal to Fk by R, where mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction, limiting friction, and static friction. I have already told you about that. So, what is coefficient of kinetic friction? It is again a ratio between the kinetic friction and force of kinetic friction to the normal reaction. As you know that the force of kinetic friction is less than the force of limiting friction, that is mu k is less than mu, that is kinetic friction is less than the limiting friction. For wood on wood, the limiting friction is 0.70 and kinetic friction is 0.40. For wood or leather, if you have the surface of wood and a leather, then this coefficient of limiting friction mu is equal to 0.5 and coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.40. Again, we see that coefficient of this limiting friction is greater than the coefficient of kinetic friction. For steel on steel, the coefficient of limiting friction is 0.74 and coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.57. Again, we see that coefficient of limiting friction is greater than the coefficient of kinetic friction. I am sure you will have understood it. Now, angle of friction. As you can see from the fig, we see the angle theta in the fig, and it is an angle between normal reaction R and the resultant of F and R. Resultant vector of normal reaction R and force of limiting friction F. So if you are asked to define angle of friction, it is the angle between the normal reaction R and the resultant of the normal reaction R and the force of limiting friction F. The line or the arrowed line between F and R is the resultant of F and R. This angle of friction is denoted by theta. The value of the angle of friction theta depends upon again the nature of the surface in contact, material of the surface is in contact. Now relation between coefficient of limiting friction and angle of friction theta. From the fig you can see from the fig tan theta is equal to perpendicular by base, that is F by R. Also we know that mu is equal to F by R. So from equation first and second we see that RHS is of the two equations is equal, therefore LHS of the two equations must be equal, so mu is equal to tan theta. So using this relation you can calculate the coefficient of limiting friction. You just have to know the angle theta. If you know the angle theta, then you can calculate the coefficient of limiting friction mu. Now angle of repose. Now here we have to we cannot take a horizontal surface. We have to take an inclined surface. The minimum angle of inclination of a plane with the horizontal such that a body placed on a plane just begins to slide down is called the angle of repose. It is also known as angle of sliding. Slide. The body begins to slide down. For example, let me simply explain it. You take the plank of wood, and you keep it with the wall uh, with some inclination. Now, when you put a brick on the plank of wood, the brick does not come down, the brick does not slide down. Then what you do, you just increase the angle. When you increase the angle, for example, we draw a line like this, and here is a brick. The brick does not come down. What will you do? This is the angle. Now we will increase the angle. we increase the angle, the brick comes down. The brick slides down. So the minimum angle at which the body just begins to slide down is called the this. In the second case, this is the angle of repose. That angle is called the angle of repose. So the minimum angle of inclination of a plane means a plank of wood or a cardboard, whatever it may be. You can just keep it with some inclination with a horizontal surface. Then a body will slide down, will begin to slide down. The angle at which the body starts or body begins to slide down is called angle of repose. So in this case, we cannot call an angle of repose, whereas here the body comes down. So this we can call an angle of repose. Now consider a wooden block placed on an inclined plane AB, making an angle alpha with the horizontal AC as shown in figure. Now you can see we have a plane which makes an angle alpha with the horizontal. As you can see, angle alpha is the angle of repose. And we suppose that the body begins to slide down. This is a block. Now, the various forces acting on the block or the body are weight mg acting downwards. Weight mg acting downwards. This weight tries to bring the body down vertically. Then, normal reaction are acting perpendicular to AB. Remember that normal reaction always acts at right angles to the surface of the body. So normal reaction are acting perpendicular to AB. Then there is force of friction acting up the plane AB. As you can see, F is the force of friction. It acts upwards. Just these are the three forces which are acting on the body. One is weight mg. Then there is normal reaction which keeps the body upwards at right angles to the surface of the body, and then there is force of friction which acts upwards along the plane. Now we see this mg. It is neither in. It has got two components: horizontal component and vertical component. Here, vertical component is mg cos alpha, and horizontal component is mg sin alpha. So mg cos alpha will balance the normal reaction R, and mg sin alpha will balance the force of friction. So F, force of friction F is balanced by mg sin alpha, that is F is equal to mg sin alpha, and R, the normal reaction R is balanced by mg cos alpha, that is R is equal to mg cos alpha. Now when we divide equation first by equation 2, we get F by R is equal to mg sin alpha by mg cos alpha, which means F by R is equal to tan alpha, because mg and mg will cancel out, and sin alpha by cos alpha is equal to tan alpha. We also know that F by R is equal to mu, that is coefficient of limiting friction. So when we compare these two, we get mu is equal to which implies mu is equal to tan alpha. F by R is equal to tan alpha, F by R is equal to mu. So when we compare these two, we get mu is equal to tan alpha. And also we know that the relation between coefficient of limiting friction mu and the angle of friction theta, that is mu is equal to tan theta. So from equation 3, we get mu is equal to tan alpha, and from equation 4 we also get mu is equal to tan theta. So from equation 3 and 4 we get tan theta is equal to tan alpha, which implies theta is equal to alpha. That is, angle of friction is equal to angle of repose. Thus, angle of friction is equal to angle of repose. Now, there is another type of friction which we are going to discuss now, that is rolling friction. We have just two types of friction, that is sliding friction. The body may slide over, one body may slide over the surface of another body, or one body may roll over the other surface. So, what is rolling friction? It is an opposing force, just like as we have defined this sliding friction. It is an opposing force that comes into play when one body rolls or tends to roll over the surface of another body. If anybody asks you what is then sliding friction, that is also an opposing force that comes into play when one body slides or tends to slide over the surface of the another body. So an opposing force that comes into play when one body rolls or tends to roll over the surface of another body is called rolling friction. As in case of this sliding friction, uh, there are so many views. One is an old view and the other is a modern view. And according to old view, mm, there are uh, irregularities in the two surface. Even the smoothest surface may have some irregularities. And when we slide one body over the surface of another body, the body gets interlocked due to these irregularities. So that is the old view. The new modern view is that is there is a force of attraction between the molecules of the body. So similarly, the cause of this sliding friction, sorry, this the cause of this rolling friction is mainly due to the deformation of the rolling body, like wheel or the surface on which it rolls. As you might have seen, the wheels of the vehicle, when they fly on the road, when they roll on the road, what happens? You can see they get deformed at the point of contact, where the wheel is in contact with the road. You can see it yourself. So this is mainly due to that deformation, and there is a bit of sliding friction that time at the point of contact. There is a little bit of sliding friction. So this is the main cause of rolling friction. So if anybody asks you what is the main cause of rolling friction, the main cause is again the body becomes just like a plane at the point of contact. The rolling body becomes a just like a plane at the point of contact. So there is a little bit of this sliding friction. And you, as I told you, the cause of sliding friction is the interlocking between the irregularities of the two surfaces, or the force of attraction between the molecules of the two surfaces. So the wheel of the gets the wheel of the vehicle gets deformed at the point of contact. So laws of rolling friction. The first law of rolling friction is the rolling friction decreases with increase in smoothness of the rolling body and the surface on which it rolls. So if the two surfaces, one is the surface of the rolling body which rolls over the surface of another body. If both the surfaces are smooth, then the rolling friction will decrease. Smoother the surfaces in contact, smaller will be the this rolling friction. The second law is rolling friction is directly proportional to the load L, or what we call it weight. So F, or that is rolling friction, is directly proportional to L, that is load of the body, or what we call weight of the body. Rolling friction is inversely proportional to the radius of curvature of the rolling body. Rolling friction is inversely proportional to the radius. Means smaller the radius, greater will be the rolling friction, and greater the radius, smaller will be the rolling friction. So remember this thing. So if the, for example, as you in case of this skirt, hall skirt, you can see the vehicle is of greater radius, so it will have smaller friction. So greater the radius of the wheel or rolling body, smaller will be the rolling friction. Rolling friction depends upon the rigidity of the two surfaces. For example, let me take the example of if there are two wheels, one is of the horse skirt and the other is of this say truck, whatever you call it. If they are of the same radius, if the two wheels are of the same radius, as in first case, in the case of horse skirt, the rolling body, that is the wheel of the horse skirt, is rigid, more rigid than the wheel of the truck. So mm, the rolling friction of the wheel of the horse skirt will be smaller as compared to the wheel of the truck because of the rigidity. Rigidity means hard. Similarly, if the rolling body is rigid, but the surface on which it rolls is not rigid. For example, it is moving in a mud, not on a hard road, on a hard surface of a road. It's moving in a mud. You can see there is a lot of friction. It may not be able to move. So both the surfaces, the surface of the rolling body and the surface on which the body rolls, must be rigid, must be hard. Harder the two surfaces, rigid the two surfaces, smaller will be the rolling friction. The rolling friction Fr can be expressed as a fractional power of the load L times a constant K. That is, Fr is equal to K L raised power N. K L raised power N. K is a constant. Its value can be assumed by experimenters. L is the load. So, for example, uh, uh, if we have a load of 10 kg, then you can use for L, you can use 10. And if you have a load of 100 kg, then it becomes 10 raised power 2. So, force of rolling friction will increase accordingly. Now, coefficient of rolling friction. As we see that Fr is directly proportional to load L, that is rolling friction is directly proportional to load L, and rolling friction is inversely proportional to the radius of the rolling body. So from these two we get Fr is proportional to L by R, or Fr is proportional to N by R, where N is normal reaction, as in first case I expressed it as R, and here I have expressed it as N. So R is a normal reaction, N is a normal reaction. You should not get confused between the two. So load is the weight. Weight is always balanced by the normal reaction. So Fr is proportional to L by R, which means Fr is proportional to N by R. Load, weight, normal load and weight are balanced by normal reaction. So Fr is equal to mu R N by R, where mu R is constant of proportionality known as coefficient of rolling friction. Because of the various factors, the coefficient of rolling friction is determined experimentally. Now, for real steel wheels, as you can see, might have seen a train. The wheels of the train are called rails. Remember this thing. So the rail steel wheel, as we in Urdu we call it a rail, but actually in English the rail is The wheel of the train is called a rail. The wheel of the train is called a rail. So that is usually made up of steel. So rail steel wheels on steel rails. So the track on steel track rail tracks. Then the rolling coefficient of rolling friction is 0.0001 to 0.002. For bicycle on concrete road, if a bicycle is plying on a concrete road, then the coefficient of rolling friction is 0.002, and for car tire on concrete road, the rolling friction is 0.1 to 0.015. Now friction is a necessity and friction is an evil. Somewhere it is necessity and somewhere it is an evil. Let me first explain why it is necessary, why friction is necessary for us. Simply, it is not possible to walk without friction. If there is no friction, then we will get slipped away and we may fall down. Our feet may not be able to grab the ground. So it is not possible to walk without friction. If there is no friction at all, that's why in our bathrooms we often fall down because we get slipped because there is no friction. There is less friction in bathrooms. So if we have to want to walk, then there must be a friction. So friction here is a necessity. Friction is a necessity. It is not possible to stick two bodies to each other without friction. For example, when we build a house, if there had been no friction at all, then we would not have been able to construct buildings, roads, etc. Or we may not have been able to keep one body on the other. As in cushions, we have in our homes, we have cushions. We keep one cushion upon the other, then another cushion upon. We make a bundle of cushions. This is only possible because of friction. So in constructing a house, we place one brick on the other on, and it stays there only because of the friction. So it is not possible to stick two bodies to each other without friction. So here friction is necessary. Similarly, the brakes of cycle will not work without friction, or the brakes of any vehicle may not work without friction. If there is no friction, then we may not be able to stop a cycle. It is not possible to write on a blackboard. Had there been no friction, then we may not have been able to write on the blackboard, or we may not have been able to write on the page of our notebook without friction. So it is not possible to transfer motion from one part of a machine to another through belts without friction. As currently you see tillers in our village or in our area, we see seesaw machines in our area where you can see belts which transfer motion from one place to another, from one part of the machine to another part of the machine. So if there would have been no friction, then they would have been slippery, and the belts may have not have been able to transmit motion from one part to another. It is not possible to clean anything with sandpaper without friction. If you want to clean the doors or the windows with the help of sandpaper, if there would have been no friction, then it would not have been would not have been able to clean them. So now we know that this friction is necessary for us. So in some cases we would like to increase the friction. So the methods which we use to increase the friction are: number one, by throwing sand on the slippery ground. For example, if there is a slippery ground or slippery road where people often slip down, then we should throw a lot of sand there so that the friction this friction increases. Similarly, by throwing sand on tracks covered with snow, while there is a lot of snow, then there are apprehensions that we may fall down. So we must throw a sand on them to increase the friction. Similarly, in our bathrooms, we use synthetic rubber so that we may not fall down, just to increase the friction. Now, friction is an evil also. Why it is an evil? Friction causes wears and tears of the parts of the machinery in contact and reduces their lifetime. After some time, we have to replace them, which costs us. So it is an evil. We would not like that the belt of the machine should get tuned, should get viewed. We would not like that because we have to purchase another one. We have to buy another one, which will cost us. So that time we say that why it gets weird, why it gets stirred because of the friction. So that time we say that this friction is evil because it causes us a damage in terms of our money. Friction produces heat and causes damage to the machinery. The greater the friction, and when you rub your hands, you will observe that heat is produced. So that damages the parts of the machine. Friction always opposes the relative motion between the bodies in contact. So this is the another factor that makes friction evil because if there would have been no friction, then the vehicles on the road would have been moving with faster speed. But because now since there is friction, that's why we are black coating these roads, making them smoother, little bit smoother, so that the relative motion between the road and the vehicle increases. But if there is the surface are not smoother, the friction will be greater. So greater the friction, then the relative motion will be smaller. So this is the speed relative motion of the two bodies decreases. So friction is an evil also there also. Friction involves unnecessary expense of energy. For example, if the road is rough, then the consumption of the fuel will be more, so it will cost us. So the expense of energy will be greater. So in such cases, we would like to reduce the friction. So we must know some methods which would reduce the friction. So for reducing the friction, what we do, we polish the surfaces. By polishing, we can make the surfaces smoother and thus can reduce friction. Similarly, sometimes we use lubricants, gel like oil, grease, etc. We can fill up the irregularities of the surfaces. As I told you, the smoothest surface we have some irregularities. They are just like holes. So those holes are when we use grease, oil grease, those holes are filled up. So the irregularities may vanish and the surface becomes smoother and thus can reduce friction. By using ball bearings, we can convert the sliding friction into rolling friction. That's why ball bearings are used in your bicycle. In the wheels of your bicycle, ball bearings are spherical in shape. So what they do, they convert the sliding friction into rolling friction. Because remember, this rolling friction is always much lesser than the sliding friction. So by using ball bearings, we convert the sliding friction into rolling friction and thus reduces the friction. Then there is one more thing by streamlining, as you can see in case of aeroplanes or in case of the shape of this fish is also streamlined. So the shape of an aeroplane is also streamlined. Then the surface in contact, the surface of the ship, front surface of the ship and the air decrease. So since this friction depends upon the actual surfaces in contact. Remember that I have told you does not depend upon the apparent surfaces in contact. It depends upon the actual surface in contact. So the actual surface in contact is reduced, so that that's fluid friction. We call that fluid friction where body is moving through air or through water. The fluid friction can be decreased by streamlining the shape of the body. Thank you. I hope you will enjoy this lesson. Inshallah, I will come with next topic tomorrow.